Welcome, folks. We're going to have some fun today. We've got your questions coming on tape. They've been pre-recorded, and we'll be playing them during this show, and I think you'll find it fun. But first of all, the Equality Act. That would be Joe Biden's top priority as president, and it's grabbing center stage this week as part of the Democratic Party's platform. Now, why is this a huge threat to people of faith? And how could it undermine the safety of our school children? It's very alarming. Here, Heather Sells had more.
Joe Biden has a deep Catholic faith and history that he regularly touts to potential voters. But if elected, his administration could easily silence and marginalize people of faith. Why? Because the LGBTQ lobby dominates the Democratic Party. Its former top lobbyist is the convention's CEO, and its #1 priority, the Equality Act, would oppress believers. Just last year, he made clear that the Equality Act would be his top priority as president.
I promise you, if I'm elected president, that'll be the first thing I ask to be done.
And so did Tuesday's LGBTQ Democratic Caucus.
We have to pass the Equality Act through both houses. And of course, we have to have a president who will sign it into law.
The Equality Act would add sexual orientation and gender identity to federal civil rights laws, with no exceptions for people of faith.
It treats the people who believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, or that we're created male and female. It treats our beliefs as the equivalent of racist bigotry.
Other elements of the bill include forcing female athletes to compete with men that identify as women, requiring faith-based adoption agencies to choose between placing children with gay couples or closing down. It also adds the words perception and belief to the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which Senator James Lankford says could spell even more trouble.
If I go to interview in a job and I'm not hired, I can sue that employer because I perceive they were thinking I was gay, and so they didn't hire me.
Analysts like the Family Research Council's David Clausen say Biden's LGBTQ-friendly policies would affect school children and their safety in bathrooms.
Biden has said that within his on his first day in office, he would reinstate Obama-era guidance for schools that would allow those who identify as transgender to have access to the locker rooms, bathrooms, and changing facilities of their choice.
Biden calls transgender equality the civil rights issue of our time. His foundation launched a family acceptance campaign in 2018.
We'll use our resources to highlight the harms of family rejection.
But with new reporting on concerns about social contagion and evidence that some kids might adopt transgender identities to fit in, Biden's push to force family acceptance could strip parents of their ability to care for their children and protect them from harmful medical treatments. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, that's not a shocker. You look at Kamala Harris, and everybody's preceding her as a tremendous moderate. You know, Mao Zedong was an agrarian reformer, too. Well, in other news, it's official. Joe Biden received the Democratic nomination for president at last night's convention. But who gave a surprising endorsement? John Jessup has more.
Thanks, Pat. The nomination was delivered in a manner unlike any ever seen before, lacking the in-person excitement of conventions past.
I'm pleased to announce that Vice President Joe Biden has officially been nominated by the Democratic Party as our candidate for President of the United States.
Well, thank you very, very much.
The second night of the Democratic National Convention included a message from General Colin Powell, the former Republican Secretary of State who served under President George W. Bush, said Biden will be a president who, quote, we will all be proud to salute. The night was topped off with words from Biden's wife, Jill, who gave a glimpse into his character.
The burdens we carry are heavy, and we need someone with strong shoulders. I know that if we entrust this nation to Joe, he will do for your family what he did for ours. Bring us together and make us whole.
Tonight's speakers include 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton and Biden's vice presidential running mate, Senator Kamala Harris. Well, things will stay as is at the U.S. Postal Service, at least through the election. The Postmaster General is delaying new operational changes and cost-cutting measures after some Democrats claim they could negatively impact mail-in voting practices in November. In a statement Tuesday, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy said he believes changes are necessary for the long-term sustainability of the Postal Service and that, quote, work towards those reforms will commence after the election. Well, officials in Portland declared a riot Tuesday night after agitators threw burning material into the Multnomah Sheriff's Office. Meanwhile, police have identified a suspect in the brutal beating of a man who crashed his truck near a Black Lives Matter demonstration Sunday. The driver, Adam Hayner, was pulled from his truck, punched, and pushed to the ground. At one point, a man wearing a shirt labeled "Security" kicked him in the head, leaving Hayner injured and motionless. He was later taken to the hospital, treated, and released. Police are seeking 25-year-old Marquise Love in the accident. Senator Lindsey Graham is calling on the Justice Department to take action, saying, quote, they taunted and tortured this individual before severely injuring him. The group responsible are great candidates for federal prosecution of the constitutional rights of a victim. Well, turning now to the battle to contain COVID-19, officials now say a widely used test may give inaccurate results if not used correctly. That comes as schools and universities struggle with reopening. Charlene Aaron has the story.
In a stunning announcement Tuesday, the FDA revealed that a popular COVID-19 test could be giving invalid or false negative results. Officials say the tests produced by Thermo Fisher Scientific are vulnerable to false negatives if the samples aren't properly processed. This as the World Health Organization warned that young people are becoming the main spreaders of the virus.
The trouble is there are areas of the country, several, that are actually in community spread.
Colleges and universities grapple with reopening their campuses as outbreaks occur. Parties like this one at the University of North Georgia last weekend are part of the problem.
We can't have these large parties because of the level of asymptomatic spread.
With at least 89 coronavirus cases on the campus of Notre Dame, the president is moving undergraduate classes online and canceling most in-classroom instruction.
If these steps are not successful, we will have to send students home, as we did last spring.
Officials at UNC Chapel Hill have already canceled most in-person instruction, and students are being encouraged to leave campus.
I think we're going to wait it out, and once they kick us out, we'll go home. Yeah, I think that's our plan for now.
Students on the campus of the University of Colorado Boulder are concerned after 6 cases of the virus were detected. The infected students are now in quarantine, but the school still plans to hold in-person classes as testing continues.
We're going to be setting up a program for testing of individuals randomly to try and find cases before there is an outbreak.
Meanwhile, Thermo Fisher says faulty test results are rare, and most users get accurate results by following company directions. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thanks, Charlene. TikTok, a Chinese-owned company, is one of the world's most popular apps. It's also been described as a threat to national security. Dale Hurd explains why President Trump is still mulling his threat to ban it.
After only 2 years as a worldwide app, TikTok has become a major part of internet culture and social media.
It is an extremely addictive platform.
It's an app that allows users to create and share 15-second videos on any topic. With over 2 billion all-time downloads, it's the most downloaded app in the world. TikTok was downloaded 315 million times during the first 3 months of this year. That's more downloads in 1 quarter than any other app in history. It looks innocent enough, but looks can be deceiving, and President Trump has extended a deadline until November 12th for TikTok's U.S. operation to be sold to a U.S. company or be banned.
At which point it's going to be out of business in the United States. But if somebody, and whether it's Microsoft or somebody else, buys it, that'll be interesting.
TikTok presents several risks. It's owned by ByteDance, a Chinese company so closely tied to the Chinese government that it created a company committee of Communist Party members. Software experts say TikTok steals more data than any other social media app and is specifically designed to hide just how much data it's stealing. Ashkan Kazarian, director of civil liberties at Tech Freedom, says TikTok has consistently concealed its connections to the Chinese Communist government.
They refused to testify in Senate, saying that their executives are based in Beijing. At the same time, they said they're not a Chinese company. Then their lawyers told New York Times that they're not a Chinese company because they're incorporated in the Cayman Islands. Things like that kept happening over and over again.
A big concern is that more than a third of TikTok's 50 million daily users are 14 years of old or younger. And Lena Nealon of the National Center on Sexual Exploitation says experts have branded TikTok a hunting ground for pedophiles.
And that was due to insufficient controls that allowed strangers to view minors' videos, comment on videos, and directly message them.
Nathaniel Bradley, CEO and founder of Data Donate Technologies, says the best thing parents can do for their kids' safety is remove TikTok from their phones.
These applications have become a Trojan horse. It is just a situation where, as a parent, I would recommend deleting it.
Experts say TikTok was designed primarily as a data stealing app, meant to look like a social media app. And it's given the Chinese Communist Party access to the personal data of millions of Americans. Microsoft and Oracle have been mentioned as wanting to buy TikTok, which is valued globally at $50 billion. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
And Microsoft had been in talks with TikTok for weeks, but Oracle's recent interest could hijack the deal. And President Trump said Oracle would be a great company to take over TikTok's U.S. operations.
Well, it's a big deal, but I tell you, the Chinese are so adroit in mining American interests. You know, if a company wants to do business in China, they have to guarantee they'll give them access to their proprietary information. And the Chinese are building up a tremendous arsenal of weapons and cyber security applications. I mean, it's a dangerous thing. Well, anyhow, so much for the news. Now let's get into something fun.
You're not on TikTok, are you?
I'm not a kid, and I don't know anything about TikTok.
I'm not either. Okay.